Should we start off?
Yeah, go on.
Well, so welcome to Creator's Confession. This should be the fourth episode. I'm your host, Miorandi, and today we got Lewis with us. Lewis is a writer, a producer, ex-actor, so he will definitely have a lot to talk about.
Definitely.
Yeah, let's start off. Let's introduce yourself. What do you do? What do you run? Your company, your background. Tell us.
Oh, where do you want me to start? Start at the very beginning. So as Sammy said, I have my own company, Magnetic Island Productions. We work in theatre and film. Relatively new company, just a couple years old, but I sort of started it to start producing and writing and creating my own passion projects, if that makes sense. Sort of living the dream, you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, that's how it has to be.
Yeah.
And we were saying before, the main focus of the company is theatre, and that's what it was created to be, wasn't it? And now you're starting to get into film.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you know, but I guess last year was a little bit difficult for theatres, you know, with this thing that's been...
for film and
theatre. Yeah, for sure.
Theatres were completely shut off.
Yeah, I mean, they're still struggling. A lot of companies are still struggling, and a lot, I guess, didn't even make it through. It's been a really difficult time. So in that time, I sort of swapped over to film. I started reading screenplays, watching a lot more film as well. And I just sort of, it was like that thing that's always been there, you know, that, I don't know, maybe that rose bush on your way back home or whatever, you just sort of never notice. And then you stop one by and you have a look and you're like, wow, that's actually a really beautiful rose bush. And yeah, I've sort of spent...
I love this kind of analogy that you're using.
The rose bush, mate.
That's amazing, honestly.
And so I guess, over the past year and a half, that's really been my main focus for sure.
I guess everyone in the kind of creative or film industry, theatre arts, or in any kind of art sector had to reinvent themselves and look beyond what they were used to in order to actually carry on. Because we know it's hard to actually make it out in the film industry. And the only way to do it is to actually jump back on the horse when there's a fallback and keep going in whatever direction.
Yeah.
As long as they keep going.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing that I was listening to today in terms of big hits and what Martin Scorsese says, which is every time that there is a big hit, a new director, writer, anyone that makes a big hit, the best thing to do is to just jump back on the horse and keep going. And that's the same thing when it comes to fallbacks, not just hits in film. Yeah. So it's good that you managed to find something, a way out of it.
Yeah, I guess it's quite a tricky thing. I speak to a lot of my friends are actors, right? And a lot of them have struggled a lot during the pandemic as well, due to, you know, they've had roles lined up and those have been cancelled. And it is really hard especially when you've been deep in a project or been working on something for a while and it just sort of the rug gets pulled. And we've been talking a lot about motivation. And this is something that, you know, it definitely comes in waves. It comes and goes. I don't know how you find it, Sammy, but, you know, for me, you know, some days I'll wake up and go, you know, I have so much energy today. I'm jumping out of bed. I've got so much to do, you know, and it's just everything's flowing. But it's on those days where you get out and you're like, oh God, you can't remember exactly why you're doing this and you lose your way a bit. It's this fickle thing, right?
Yeah, everyone's been struggling with motivation. Everyone that's come on the podcast up till now, which isn't many people because this is the fourth.
Yeah,
but
I'm on
everyone that I've spoken to has this kind of problems in terms of motivation.
Yeah.
And as far as, you know, we know that it is because of COVID and the lockdown and what has happened in, you know, from 2020. But you can't help it from taking it personal on one level because you're like, am I the one falling back? Am I the one that's lost motivation or am I in the wrong because I'm not doing enough? And it isn't like that. I mean, everyone's in the same situation. Most film sets gather people which have always been on their films, so they don't go and grasp new talents, and they especially don't go to students.
Yeah.
A lot of students have been turned down in terms of opportunities, whether it's apprenticeships, internships, or just work experiences, because they are students. They don't want to risk anything extra on set.
Yeah.
And, you know, you just feel discouraged from your art, whether you're a writer, director, and once you stop the practice, once you stop writing or being on set, it becomes a bad, you know, what's it called? You get used to it in a bad way.
Yeah.
And every day you go on without actually creating, without even sitting down for a couple hours and writing, you just start losing the momentum and it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
But that is, that's another topic in terms of you don't have to work, 15-hour days, but just put those 2 hours of quality work in every day, but just make sure that it's consistent.
Yeah, that's it.
People just need to get out of bed now and start hustling again, because the film industry is opening back.
Yeah, it's time, right? And I mean, what the mantra that I try and live by every day, because I find that for me personally anyway, especially when I was younger, sort of your age as well, I would have these sort of, there's not much of an age difference, I will say that. But there's a little bit. There's a little bit, yeah.
6 years older than
There's enough, right? But, sometimes I got caught up in these ideas of all these grand plans, right? I want to be I want to be building these massive plays, and I want to be shooting features, and I want to be directing all this stuff, and I want to go to LA and stuff like that. But, as I've gotten older, a little bit older.
Wiser.
Wiser maybe. a little bit. Maybe I've regressed a little bit in that way. But just like you said, just improving each day and being better than you were yesterday. That's what I'm trying to say. When you wake up, your only job is to be better than you were yesterday. And that can mean the smallest thing today. But it means you don't have to wake up and do a 15-hour day, like you said, or whatever. As much as those are great sometimes, we love those when we're doing what we want. But that's when
you're at the top of your, work.
When you're in the flow of things, right?
I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
But even when you are unmotivated, the important thing is maybe sit at your desk for 2 hours and write a little bit more.
Yeah.
Keep working on that script or those characters and develop it, even if it's a little bit, but you've done something.
Yeah.
You've done more than the day before. You've done more than you do if you just stayed in bed or if you just stayed home to scratch your, the whole day.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, you, Lewis, need to give advice to newcoming writers, because you have a lot of experience in writing.
Yeah.
And a lot of young writers are discouraged now because of the competition, because they don't feel like their writing is good enough, or because they get let down by people who are just in the industry and they feel like they're in the industry just by giving negative advice. And the situation we're in just doesn't help.
Yeah.
So in terms of advice.
Ooh, advice. All right. How long do we have on this pod, right?
We have 30. Actually, count 5 minutes on the clock.
I love this counter.
Pac-Man.
Yeah, that's actually a great question. I mean, my journey into writing was a little bit funny, right? I think I should just start there, because I didn't really get into the entertainment industry, or whatever you want, theater and film, till I was 16 or 17 is when I started really thinking about it. And I never thought I was a writer. My favorite part about theater and film is collaboration, right? I love working with actors, and writing to me sounded like this really insular process. Like you sit down in a room and you're by yourself with your thoughts, which it is a little bit, right?
Now you don't even need to be in a writer's room anymore. I just through Zoom.
Yeah. Well, don't talk to me about Zoom,
and it saves time, doesn't it? Because you don't have to travel to a writer's room. You just can sit at home.
Yeah. But I mean, the hardest thing I found, and the hardest thing that I think a lot of new writers find, is we're talking about motivation, right? To sit down, and it's easy to say right now, all right, sit down and work 2 hours on a script. But there's so many distractions in the world right now, and it's just so easy to fall off the wagon with a little bit. I would say the main thing is, you would be surprised how many writers don't actually finish their scripts.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I'm talking like, if you finish a screenplay, if you finish a play script, you are ahead of the curve by like 80% of people.
100%.
Yeah, and that in itself is an achievement, right? I just finished reading this book. I mean, it's a great book for beginners. I disagree. I disagree with a lot of what it had to say, but I think it's a great starting point. Save the Cat.
Oh, I've heard of Save the Cat.
Yeah, I don't know if you've read this book, but it is, like we were talking about before, it is the blueprint for the Hollywood film. And this guy, I actually can't remember his name right now, but he wrote and sold spec scripts for his entire life to Disney, to Universal, to all these big companies. And he essentially laid out this blueprint, right? And there's some amazing rules in there. If you don't read the whole book and you want to become a screenwriter or whatever, turn to the back. There's some amazing rules in there. But his main thing is that most screenwriters, you'd be surprised, just do not even finish that script. And you can't sell the script if you don't finish it.
No, obviously.
Yeah, you can't produce it, right?
But that's a whole loop that you get into.
Yeah.
I know a lot of young writers that just have like 15 unfinished scripts. Sometimes just sit down and finish it.
Yeah, it's tough though, isn't it?
I know it's tough. It's tough, especially when you have to get to the end of the story and decide how to end it. But it's just, there's so many memes about it on filmmaking pages on Instagram. It's just like this continuous views, like, oh, you get up with an idea, you start writing, you tell everyone, and then you get straight into back writing it, but you never actually finish the story.
Yeah.
But that kind of builds, as I was saying, a habit of just not finishing things.
Yeah.
And as you said, young writers just need to not get discouraged by it.
Yeah.
But
it's tricky. Well, it's just one thing to say. I mean, I know something that is difficult is when you start a script, right? You're at your most excited, right? You've got this idea, you want to get it out into the world, bam, straight pen to paper. That's what I used to do when I first started writing plays and screenplays. I just jumped straight in without the planning stage, without doing my beat work, or all these sort of technical things. And you can sort of work out your own process. But the point is that you need to go in with some sort of goal in mind. And what is great about Save the Cat, and a lot of playwrights do this as well, the greatest playwrights of not our generation, but of all time, I'm thinking about like Arthur Miller, who wrote Death of a Salesman. Yeah. When he was writing that play, he wrote what the core of the play was on a piece of paper in a single sentence. He wrote that down on a piece of paper and stuck it on his typewriter, right? And every line he wrote for that play, he looked up at that piece of paper and said, is it serving that line? And in film, that's the log line, right?
Yeah.
That is the log line. That is the line that sums up your film. And that has to be
your aim.
It's got to be shit hot, and it's got to be the goal.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Because you do get sidetracked a lot when you're starting to write. Just go off in these, you just got to remember what the point of the story is. And that's actually a really good practice. Never thought of it that way.
Yeah. It is really important because, as I said, we do get excited. And when we're excited, when we jump into new projects, I don't know about you, Sammy, but I just get...
it's just a new excitement.
Yeah, you get so excited.
Like, yes, I'm starting this.
Yeah.
Carrying on. You got so many ideas. You get to a point where you're like, where am I going with this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then you get to like halfway or even near the end, you're like, where it's just completely different to the start. And it's like, where am I supposed to go?
Yeah.
And that's why keeping an eye on the aim, keeping an eye on the story of the film or the point of the script is important. So you don't get sidetracked.
Yeah. Yeah. And making sure that is boiled down into one or two sentences. And they've got to be, look up how to structure log lines, look up how to structure these sentences, because they're not just sort of roughly what the story is about. They include everything. They include your theme. They include, your protagonist, your conflict, all these things that you need to make great film. The films that we love seeing, right? So if you're a budding screenwriter, make sure you're looking up that stuff. Read Save the Cat, even though there are problems with it. Certainly it was written a long time ago.
Recommended by so many people in the industry.
Yeah.
So many people have mentioned Save the Cat, and it's just the most simple way you can put screenwriting in, and just a good way to learn it. The basics of the Hollywood film industry.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and I would say not even Hollywood, right? I guess that is the issues that I have with the book, right? That it is so Hollywood centric,
so
right?
Hollywood. But I'm not trying to shit on the Hollywood industry, because honestly, that's where it started. Let's just
of course.
But it's we can't overlook the way films are shot in the UK. Most of the studios where big films are shot in are in the UK, and there's so much going on here. That's why I don't get people that just aim for Hollywood. I'm like, there's so many good films shot here. Where are you trying to go?
Yeah.
Like, Hollywood is competition. Everyone's in the film industry in one way or another in Hollywood, but the UK is not, it's fresh.
Yeah. And
there's new minds, there's different kinds of ideas. So stop searching for Hollywood. And the same concept of Save the Cat can be applied here.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't look for Hollywood.
Yeah. I would say make sure as well, if you're a filmmaker, make sure you use the great resource that is the BFI as well.
Oh, yes.
That is an amazing
overlooked. And plus
amazing
students
resource.
get so many, so much out of it.
Yeah.
Under 25s. Sorry.
That's I don't want to talk about that. That's been hard. That's been really, really hard for me.
Under 25s get I think £5 films. You can go and watch any of the films that they have in archive.
Absolutely.
Anything for £5. And it's such a great resource. They have a huge library. A huge, physical library of things, which you can go and watch of films, and just access is 24/7. So if you can go whenever you want.
Yeah, and they're always running grants and programs for emerging filmmakers. I've been working with Christine Hartland at Patchwork Productions. That was for my final year in university. She's an amazing producer, right? And she's got a spec script that was built with the BFI, right? And they've been going back and forth over the course of about 2 years. This is how long it takes for some films, right? Yeah. Going back and forth, getting writers on to help with the script, etc. But they are so supportive, and you think of them as like this big organization that doesn't really.
No,
stick their hands. They are everywhere, and they do want to support British filmmaking as well.
Yes, and they also have a lot of connections with BAFTAs. They have a lot of programs which have to do with BAFTAs and mentoring sessions. I've managed to have long mentoring sessions with Callum McRae. I don't know if you know who Callum McRae is.
I don't know Callum.
He's a multiple BAFTA-nominated documentary filmmaker, which did a lot of work in Ireland to do with the IRA, and so many great documentaries just everywhere in terms of war, civil war. And, most of these connections come through the BFI and the BAFTA programs, and they're just so valuable. Because mentoring is valuable. There's a lot of people like, you don't need mentors. No, you do.
Yeah.
It's important to get feedback from industry professionals, and the BFI offers them for free to students, especially film students in London. You can just go in and, do you know what I mean?
Get on that, gang. That sounds fantastic.
They have, as you said, programs which help fund films up to like £20,000 or £30,000, sending scripts and whatnot. And a lot of places in England have this for young directors, like Channel 4 or ITV. They all have these programs just about going on and Googling it.
Yeah.
Write down your script, write down your idea, develop it, and then they give you the funds to make them.
Yeah.
Like, what's better?
Yeah.
Like, when did you ever have such resources?
Oh, it's an incredible time.
You know what I mean? It's insane. Again, £30,000 make a lot of difference when you have no budget. You can make great films out of it.
Oh, great films.
It's not about it's about the budget.
It's a little bit about the money.
About the budget, but they have these amazing resources, and everyone should get used to it, especially because a lot of people I don't know how many people actually listen to me or us on here. Well,
my mother's definitely watching.
Yeah. But like most of them are within our age range and should just make use of it, not look over it, because it's important.
Yeah. I mean, it's an amazing place to be under 25. It's an amazing place to be over 25 as well. Don't get me wrong. But
you're not far from it. I'm sure you can go in and be like, I'm 25.
No, I don't get ID'd anymore at the shops. It's a bit depressing. But I remember when I first came to London, right? And, Sydney.
2016.
It was 2016. I don't even know that. Sam's been doing his research.
Oh, mate, it's important, isn't it?
Coming from Sydney, right? The culture and the artistic scene over here, you can't even compare it to what was happening in Sydney. Sydney's got things going on, obviously, but London is this hub on the international stage, right? And when I first came here, I was blown away by the support, the programs. Theaters especially, I probably know more about theaters than film, but, tickets, the National, the Almeida, the Young Vic, all these guys, they give free tickets, cheap tickets. They've got directors programs, actors programs, like if you want to be in this industry,
London
is one of the best places to be.
It's not even LA anymore. It's just London, isn't it?
That's right. And there's nothing to stop you.
Yeah, because LA now is just, I'm not saying it's just for the top dogs.
Yeah.
But there's less assistance for young directors. Here it's just, everyone's just starting off.
Yeah.
The film industry in London is so fresh and so various. It's just a place to be. And you were saying, what's it called? The difference between Australia and here.
Yeah.
Talk more about it.
Talk
What
more
was
about
like the film? Because we were saying before that theatre is a huge launch pad for directors, for screenwriters, for costume designers, for makeup artists.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be looked down on.
Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, absolutely. Never look down on theatre. I mean, that's
important.
That is where
that's where it started.
I started off, and it is my only, I was going to say only love there. Sorry, Becky. Yeah. Hopefully she doesn't listen to this.
God.
You know, it was my original love. I mean, my father, right, when I was a kid, was the theatre director and producer.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. He produced.
No wonder you got this love for it then.
I know. I mean, it's so funny, right? So many kids don't want to follow in their parents' footsteps, but he came over to London at roughly the same age. He stayed in London for 8 years, was on the West End as an actor. He did fantastically well, right? But then he came home and he produced his own plays and directed his own plays. And my first memories were going to the theatre, you know, when I was 4, 5, 6 years old, you know, being in the rehearsal room, being there on opening night, the liveness of it, the experience, the atmosphere. I know it's cliche to say, but the electricity in the room. And I mean, I get a different electricity when I go into a cinema these days. I think I have a newfound appreciation, particularly over the past year and a half, for amazing film. But being in the theatre for me, whether it's a fringe venue in London, whatever, there is this feeling that, like, I'm sure all artists get
butterflies in your stomach, especially when, even if you go to your own screenings in cinemas, it's just different. And that's one thing that Tarantino was talking about. You know, Tarantino. Do you know about Tarantino?
No, he's an up and coming filmmaker, isn't he?
He's pretty fresh in the scene.
Yeah,
but he was talking
hope he goes
about.
All right.
He was talking about the fact that now everything is moving to streaming, but it's just not the same thing. When you go to a cinema and watch a film with all the spectators, all the people that actually go there and enjoy it with you, and you feel the emotions, whether it's theatre or cinema, you feel the emotions of the people watching to the scenes that you've created. It's just different.
Oh my God.
That's why film has to be enjoyed together. You can't just enjoy it on a phone on your way to work or on your laptop in your bedroom. It's cinema. And I think now people are going to start appreciating cinema more now that we've been in lockdown for the past year and a half.
Yeah.
But theatre is where it started.
Yeah.
And as I told you, I know a lot of people which are professionals in the film industry which are still working in theatres. And it's probably going to always be like that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, just jumping off what you said before there as well. I mean, I can't remember the last time I went to a cinema before the other week, right? Certainly not.
I went to
cinema.
Where? What did you watch?
I went to Picture House Central, right, which is one of my favourite cinemas in London.
Yes.
Get that student membership, by the way. It's great. 30 quid. 30 quid a year.
Because of the discounts.
I went and saw, and here we go, and this is exactly the point you were just saying. Yeah, I just went and saw Chloe Zhao's No Man Land. And here's the thing, right? I don't know if I should be saying this on camera or on a pod, right? But I sat in that cinema, and it was sad in places, of course, but I literally sat there and bawled my eyes out for almost half that film. And it wasn't so much to do with the film. I mean, the film is incredible. If you haven't seen it, go and see it. I mean, Chloe is just what she's done. The fact that she wrote, directed, and edited that film herself and won Best Picture. I mean, it is just...
I think that is now going to bring change to the game in Hollywood, because Oscars were such, you know, just politics.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a whole different conversation, right?
Okay, so but do you know what I mean? Like the fact that she actually edited and she's so fresh to the scene now, got introduced to Hollywood is just amazing. I need to watch the film.
You need to watch the film.
I haven't seen it.
But here's the point, right? I came home after crying my eyes out in that cinema. I came home and said to my housemate, right, you need to watch this film. And he said, and I'm sure he's going to listen to this and he's going to hate me for telling everyone this, but he said, all right, I'm just going to watch it on Disney Plus, right?
Oh, come on.
And these services, right, they are amazing. They've given a platform to a lot of filmmakers and a lot of people, but it's incomparable, the experience you get, and you're selling yourself short. And I strongly, strongly believe that cinema will never die. Because people understand that experience and people will come back.
There's just very few people now that actually appreciate it though.
It will
especially the new generations. So.
Yeah.
Like it's not the same thing as it was before. And that's one thing that Tarantino was scared of, the fact that cinema is going to die because people are just going to move to stream. But I don't think so. As you said, you're never going to not love cinema.
Yeah.
Grab your popcorns, go into a dark room and watch a film on a big ass screen.
Yeah.
In 2K.
In 2K, yeah.
No, they were just all in 2K.
Yeah, all of the, I mean...
Why are you shooting an AK for? Just pan.
I just feel like with so many things at the moment, with the introduction of the internet, you know, like me, I don't know if you were old enough, but I remember when the internet was not a thing. Yeah, but did you ever use dial-up internet? No. Look at him. He's just giving me that face, right? What is dial-up internet, right? When you actually had to connect, you had this little box, right, that would connect you to the internet. You couldn't just go onto Google. You'd have to load up the internet first.
That's amazing.
Yeah, look at this. 6 years difference. And Sammy doesn't even know what that is. But back to the point I was making, right, is the introduction of the internet has changed the way that we consume content, right? And right now we are in a period of instability in terms of we don't exactly know the role that internet is, where it's going to settle or if it's going to settle. But I strongly believe, and maybe this is the optimist in me, but it's a pendulum right now, as Bo Burnham would say. And where we've swung really far one way, we've got so much content out there, you know, all the social medias, et cetera, et cetera.
It's not bad.
It's not a bad thing.
I mean, but I don't want cinema to end up like the blockbusters.
Yeah, blockbuster. I mean, but I do believe the pendulum, it will swing back, because as we become more and more digital, as things move further and further online, I think there's something deep down within us,
appreciate it more
in our core, that says, no, we are social human beings, and there is something about going to the cinema that connects us to each other.
It can't end like that.
No,
Blockbuster is a thing. Come on, just Blockbusters.
You remember Blockbuster? I'm really surprised that you remember Blockbuster.
I remember Blockbusters.
You don't remember dial-up internet.
I still had Blockbusters, and that's where you'd go and get films.
Yeah.
And now, so streaming can get them on easily. You can buy films from Amazon or whatnot.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That was doomed to come to an end at some point. But the appreciation for cinema never will.
Yeah.
Like, you know, IMAX, watching films at IMAX or picture houses or... It's just different. It's just different.
It is different. I mean, this is a slight sidetrack here, but when you went to Blockbuster, in what format did you rent movies? Were they like DVDs? Were they DVDs?
And VHS.
VHS, all right. You know what VHS is.
I still have... Oh, shut up, mate.
All right.
We're just 6 years apart. I'm 50. I still have a TV which just plays VHS tapes.
Yeah.
And I still have a lot of the Disney classics.
The Disney classics, very nice. Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast, Dumbo, Moulin Rouge.
You're always quoting Cinderella as well, so that makes sense.
Oh, is that the case?
Yeah.
you know you love it. That little crystal shoe. But apart from that, I think there's still a space for it. I actually still watch films on VHS sometimes just as a throwback.
Yeah.
Is that yours?
No. What is that? We've got a ringing in the studio right now.
Why have we got a ringing in the studio?
I don't know.
Lewis. Why are they calling?
Okay, maybe that's our 11-minute timer.
No, it's not. We're on 11. We've got 11 minutes left.
That's what I just said.
They shouldn't be calling our phone. They're distracting our podcast.
Yeah.
You're going to hear that in the background.
I want to hear more about VHS.
You want to hear more about VHS?
No, I'm just really
you know what?
excited that you still watch VHS.
Absolutely. Next to my TV at home. Oh my God.
What is that?
Can you just go there, take it off and put it back?
Yeah, what is that, a ringer?
Yeah, it's just a phone.
All right, give me a second.
Pick up and tell them, oh God. Sorry for the interruption, guys. We're just going to be back in 1 second.
They're just breathing at the monitor.
Yeah, just put that. Can you not yank it off? No, I'm joking. They're going to make me pay for it. But yeah, VHSs.
Yeah.
I'm still very excited about VHSs and just that throwback. I still have so many. As I was saying, next to my TV, there's a TV with an integrated VHS player on the 4x3.
Yeah, cathode ray, very nice.
We love it.
Yeah,
and we're meant to be. I mean, there's still actually where I'm from in Italy. There's still places that sell DVDs and VHS.
Yeah,
like.
But there's something so physical about VHSs and cassette tapes, these things like actual tape. I mean, speaking about Tarantino, right? You can look up
films.
Yeah, you can look up all interviews, right, of him talking about the difference between digital and film, and Deakins talks about it a lot as well.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
there was something about the fact that you had to rewind these things.
Yeah,
right.
I know, right?
Do you remember that? And there was that graininess that we sort of still, that we sort of still seek in our films.
You know what?
Right?
Deakins doesn't shit on film.
No,
but he just says he just does prefer digital, and I see why. Film is where it started. Film has that authenticity to the look, which not many people appreciate. Only people in it, that are in the sector actually appreciate it.
Yeah,
but digital offers so much more. It offers you to be able to make mistakes, to go back into the editing room and fix it. But the actual physical, what can I say? How can I say it? The manual labor that went into actually shooting on film, cutting it by hand, sticking it together. That's what made a lot of people fall in love with actually shooting films.
Well, it's film.
And there's a lot of people now that are going back into shooting film photos because there's something just physical about having, stock and stuff. But yeah, it's just,
I met a couple the other day, right? And they were sitting at a table at a restaurant, right? And they had on the table a 3-pack of Kodak film. And I haven't seen Kodak in years, right? And I said to them, wow, that's a brand I haven't seen in a while. And they said, yeah, we're walking around London. We're doing a tour of London today and we're shooting on film. And I said, that is so amazing, right?
Deakins still does that.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Deakins takes his film camera out to go on a walk and takes pictures with film.
Yeah, because, one thing it does is it makes you think about the shot that you're taking, right? One thing, and I fall for this all the time, since you've got an iPhone, right, or whatever, an Android, right, and you see a subject, you can take 1,000 photos and your phone's not going to blink. But with a camera, with film camera, you have to take the time. How are you going to frame? How are you going to compose your image? How are you going to light your image, right? And the thought that goes in, that photo, when it comes out, there's so much more meaning to it, right?
I know,
right? It means something to you.
It's just that you feel more attached to the process, because as you were saying,
Absolutely.
With the iPhone, you just go in, shoot, the lighting adjusts itself. Do you know what I mean? The what's it called? The depth of field just adapts itself. You can tell that it's shot on phone, because phones aren't perfect, and as much as people say that they've gotten closer, they're not. You can tell that they're digitally sharpened. Whereas when you shoot on film, it's just you, the camera, and your knowledge of lighting and everything that has to do with taking a picture. It's just a whole art behind it. And shooting digital, shooting with phones just takes away. It's easy because you got it in your back pocket and something to just take out and shoot. But I think everyone nowadays should own a film camera. Or a Super 8.
but I mean, like, so many things, right? There are benefits to the technology we have, and then there are negatives with all things, right? But like you said, I mean, if you've heard Deakins talk about, and we love Deakins here, we've spoken about him enough, Deakins. Right? But if you listen to him talking about how he was schooled and how he was educated and where he started in stills.
Yeah, most people. Scorsese started in stills.
He wasn't a dog, right? Who's Scorsese? I don't know that.
I don't know. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but
he started in Little Italy shooting stills.
Look at that. Because it gives you an appreciation for composition, right? For lighting. And Deakins says, right, if you were a budding filmmaker, we're talking about your 2 hours every day, sitting down, working on your craft, go out and take photos, or don't even go out. Actually go outside. It's lovely. It's lovely.
Now that we can go
London
outside,
at the moment. But go out, take stills, think about what you're shooting, think about the way light hits subjects and lights the world around you. And then you can take that into your films, right? But but that is the way you can be working on your craft every day.
But that's the thing though, you just develop an eye through that. You develop the knowledge on lighting. Why why this lighting works for this character, why this angle works for this character, why this frame size works, so why the colors on because obviously different film stocks come with different colors, and why they work for your shot, what you're trying to do, and then you start building a niche out of that. You start building more than if you were taking pictures on iPhone, and that helps you to become a better filmmaker because you understand your niche without having to be on set. It's just the eye and what works for you, what works for the story, and what the character in your frame is trying to tell, because it's not just about taking a picture of someone walking on the street. It's about where's that person going? Where did that person come from? And what's it saying by the way it's, walking, standing, portraying itself? There's so much that goes into it. And I think, as you said, it's not even being optimistic. It's just the truth. Just as technology develops, we're going to appreciate the old things much more. We're going to appreciate film, cinemas, and physical DVDs. I get a lot of people that come to my house and they're like, how have you got so many DVDs? I've got shelves full of DVDs. And they're like, why? I'm like, because I'd rather buy one on Amazon than just watch it on stream one time or rent it. And I just like having it. No, I appreciate that you have DVDs as well. I mean,
DVDs. I'm like, hold on a minute.
No, it's not like we're so much different in age. Come on, this is just a little.
Doesn't know dial-up internet.
There's enough gap for you to be able to know what dial-up internet is and for me not to know.
But here's the thing, right? I mean, going back to that thing we were saying about how much content there is out there, the content that cuts through to me, and I don't watch a lot of content, right? I'm not a big consumer of content. I'm not a really big social media user or anything like that. But the content that does get through to me and the stuff that I really, really appreciate is the stuff where I can see where that person has left some of themselves on the page, have left some of themselves on the screen. I'm going to say this because I've said it to everyone that I've met over the past week and a half. Go and see Bo Burnham's Inside. It's on Netflix. If you're a filmmaker, go and watch it. This guy, mate, if you don't know Bo Burnham, he is
this guy.
If you don't know him, he was a comedian. He took 5 years off from performing due to anxieties, all these sorts of different things. But he came back, right? Over the past year in lockdown, he wrote, shot, and edited, graded everything, his own special in a single room. And the filmmaking, the creativity, it is the greatest work of art I've seen in the past year and a half.
Just
and I don't say that lightly.
Creativity.
Yeah. And if you want some inspiration, go and see that. Find work that inspires you. And keep
That's
creating,
what
mate.
Vimeo is good for.
Vimeo. Yes, Vimeo. Yeah, I know Vimeo, right.
Vimeo is good. Vimeo is still quality.
It's no DVD, it's no VHS, but yes, all right.
Oh, come on, man. But anyway, go watch. What is it? Bo
Burnham's Inside. Trust me.
Guys, we have 1 minute on the clock and we have to be out of here.
Yeah.
Or they're going to charge me extra.
We don't want that. Sammy's picked the most expensive podcast studio in London.
But that's quality, man. It
is quality. Look at this backdrop.
Should we pull out?
That's £1,000 right there.
Of course. But, that's why we're in here once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But anyways, Lewis, I would love to talk more, but you're just expensive. So thank you very much for coming.
Thanks.
It was very nice to talk to you finally outside of working conditions.
Yeah.
And you've given a lot of great knowledge.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
And can I just say, guys, if you are an emerging playwright or screenwriter or director and you want some help with anything or you're just stuck with a project, email me, Louis, Louis, at magneticisland.org.uk or check us out online and let's have a chat.
Yeah, let's plug everything.
Well, I'm just plugging me. I'm not plugging the company or anything. Just me. I'm here to help.
Shameless.
Yeah. It is shameless.
He proofreads script for free.
Yeah, I'll give you 5 pages of feedback.
No, 3.
No, I won't do that.
3 pages.
I won't do that, but I will have a chat with you.
3 page feedback just for typos.
Yeah, I'll use my word check on Word.
We gotta go.
Yeah, all right, let's go.
See you later, guys.
See you later, guys.